Hey team, I got some Q&A from the YouTube videos, specifically on question and answer on my vlog, my how can you be so bad at vlogging, that were posted here on the Instagram page. And so I thought I would take the opportunity to kind of answer these live, and we'll probably continue, to do so as I'm posting up videos periodically, kind of go through the past videos and answer questions there, right? So I got about 3 videos that I'm going to do today. This one here, this is the prequel to episode 3. This is where I was going over my specific way of doing my lat training. I'll make sure and put the link to these videos down kind of in the description. So if you wanted to go back and watch those, you could. But like I said, today we're going to answer a couple of questions from this video, also the actual episode 3, and then also episode 4. So first of all, just really appreciate, just the positive feedback. I think YouTube, kind of one of the things that scares people away about YouTube is just all the trolls that are out there. And so it's kind of hard to put yourself out there when you know that you're probably going to get, picked apart by people that probably aren't even real people. So yeah, whenever you see things like this, it's just always very, very encouraging. But let's just get on to some of the questions, right? Okay, so this is a great question right here. Christopher Warner, 6896. He says, curious if you had thoughts about lengthened partials for lat training. And really, to be honest with you, I feel like some muscles are tailor-made for lengthened partials, and lats happen to be of those one of those muscle groups, one of those muscles that I feel like is tailor-made for lengthened partials. And the reason being is, how often do we approach failure at the end of the set? And, we don't quite make it all the way down, right? So every repetition we did, neutral grip, overhand grip, underhand grip, whatever, even pull-ups, right? You get your chin all the way over the bar, and then you come back down again in control, right? And then you get your chin on, and then, basically you get half a dozen, eight or 10 of those, right? And when a person just kind of doesn't quite make it there anymore, typically that's when people stop, right? However, that is a super safe way to quote unquote fail. And arguably those repetitions, kind of the 3 before you failed, and then maybe even the 3 after you failed, just trying to get as much of that rep as you can, that lengthened portion of the rep, the lengthened partials, those are arguably the most hypertrophic repetitions that there are, right? And so that is those partials right there, for the lats. Up until you basically are kind of, and even just doing that is arguably doing something, right? But I feel like with the lats, they are tailor-made for lengthened partials for just that reason. You've probably got another 2 to 4 repetitions if you're doing a pull-up or a chin-up and you're only making it here, right? That are arguably good quality repetitions, that are, very close to, well, obviously the effort there is really high. That's probably the proper way to say that. Effort there is really, really high. And so, yeah, I incorporate a lot of lengthened partials into my training. And I program it basically for anybody who is arguably late novice intermediate. You know what I mean? How can you be so bad at video titles, but provide good examples of good and bad lat training? So appreciate that, Griffin Geode. I appreciate the ribbing, and then also just the props for the examples there. Okay, and then lastly on this video here, Paul Murphy, 5510. He's got some advice here as far as some cues kind of like stretching the traps. I think is what he's getting at there, kind of bringing the ears up, as opposed to the way that I kind of do things. I kind of look at what it is that I'm kind of lifting. So duly noted. I appreciate that. Also, it says you are also bouncing. You must have a knee pad to drive your legs into. This is crucial. So with this particular video, I was just shooting the footage that I needed. I don't have a knee pad, obviously, in an open kind of a half rack that I've got. But rest assured, Paul, that when I do my actual training, I have a very large, thick RTS band. Here, let me scroll up here, and I'll bring you to the spot where you can see that where I would put it. So specifically, Paul, the band, I actually put it right around this bar here. It goes up over my lap, and then it goes over here to this bar here. Sits right on the hip crease, right there. And so rest assured, my friend, got that one squared away. Okay, so here's a couple of questions from episode 3 where I actually cover my lat training and the exercises that I do and the volume that I cover and everything. And here, Richard Trask, he says, "Why no lengthened partials at the end of the full ROM pull downs and rows?" And again, I feel like rows and pull downs are tailor made for lengthened partials. However, they are exhausting. They're very exhausting. They burn, and I don't do them like with every lat training day. I train my lats 3 times a week, and typically what I do is I will only do one set of lengthened partials per exercise at the very last set, 2 days of the week. The other day is just kind of straight up full range of motion until I can't do it anymore, and then call it good, right? Because yeah, they are super exhausting with pull downs and rows. If you're not focusing on that lat, and the traps, rhomboids, kind of scapular retraction, pulling that shoulder into the socket and just kind of doing the elbow flexion, it will light your elbows up, and then that crosses over, and pretty soon you can't train your biceps. You're doing your direct bicep work very effectively. So I do them, but I don't do them for every set and every exercise every day. I kind of pick and choose my shots and use those when and where I kind of feel like I'm ready to attack it this day. Never seen lat prayers like that. How is that on the lower back? Really, to be honest with you, Christopher, it doesn't bother my back at all. I do feel a little burning back there because as I'm doing that lat prayer and I'm bent over and getting that stretch, right? There's a little bit of let's just say use of the low back, right? But the weight is so light, it's not it's just a little bit of use is really all it is. There's not really any pain, any burning, any anything like that. It's just kind of hip hinging while seated, for lack of a better term. Alrighty, last question for the day. This video is rapidly approaching 10-12 minutes, and I try to keep it there or less for you guys. Keep your interest, right? Because I know I'm a pretty boring dude. But episode 4 here, I go over my quad training, and specifically, kind of the majority of one of my 2 leg days that I've got. That's what I call the quad dominant day. Good question on here. First of all, again, Richard Trask here. Thanks for the kind words here. As my grandpa used to say, you can tell me that as much as you want, my friend. But yeah, let's go over this question right here. How important to keep bar pass straight over midfoot in your opinion, Brad? So, when it comes to squatting, obviously the how should I say this? Like the holy grail, right? Perfection is that vertical bar path, right? Just straight up and down from the top the deep squat all the way back up again. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. That is the goal, right? That is the gold standard. That is what everybody is shooting for. And arguably, folks whose squats look like that are probably very good squatters. They're, maybe even borderline, dare I say, elite squatters, right? Because that's like a sign of perfect squatting, right? However, that's not very common. The reason that, there's so few people that are really, really good at squatting and really, really, really strong at squatting is because that is such a rare thing. And even at that, I mean, there's very, very strong squatters out there that don't have that vertical bar path, right? Almost everybody has a little bit of forward bar travel when they do their squat. There's, it's just a little bit diagonal, maybe even just kind of a little bit of a J curve in the way, depending on how much they fold in good morning there at the hips, right? But I think that the key that you got to there is the midfoot, right? As long as that bar is staying somewhere over the midfoot. So let's say that this is the midfoot, right? And you've got the back of the foot, the front of the foot, the ankle comes down. If you're anywhere in that range there, first of all, I feel like you're safe. Second of all, I feel like you have a pretty efficient squat there, right? And then it's just a matter of refining your hip mobility, getting your knees out in order to keep that bar path as vertical as possible. So, while it is important, I don't think it's a game breaker. You know what I mean? I think it's something that you constantly need to strive for, and you constantly need to work on improving. But I don't think it's a game breaker, and I don't think that you should ward off squatting, doing any powerlifting competitions, squat competitions until you can get that vertical bar path right. I don't feel like that's quite necessary or the extreme that you need to go to. All right, gang, I'm going to leave it there. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 more questions on the other episodes. So look for those sometime in the not too distant future. But again, I want to keep these short. I'm a boring guy. Keep the attention span of you, and look for those future videos at a later date. Okay, take care now.